Hey everybody, how are you doing? How are you doing? This is S. Anthony Thomas. This is the S. Anthony Says podcast, episode 491. And I know what you're saying. Hey S, your voice sounds like hot garbage. That is true. I'm technically kind of sick right now, but I'm doing my podcast, dagnabbit. I'm going to call this episode, Can We Be Fair? That's what I'm going to call this episode. Can we be fair? I just want to dive right into this because if I started feeling like real crap, I might have to cut this short. Anyway, now, I don't know if you watched any of the Olympics. Did you watch any of the Olympics? Did you enjoy it? I watched some of it. I, of course, watched Simone Biles, and I watched some of little bit of the track and field and a little bit of the basketball, very little bit of those things. And, you know, it's cool. I used to watch Olympics a lot more when I was younger, but when I was less busy. But when I noticed that they were trying to take, or they're going to take, a bronze medal away from this lady because of a technicality. And that's pretty horrible. I don't think that there's any kind of technicality that should take away a medal from someone who busted their behind for their whole life to get to this position, who's already been on the podium, who's already done the ceremonial biting of the medal and taking the pictures, whose family is already celebrated, whose country is already celebrated, and all of that kind of stuff. Unless it's something horrible, no, you don't take away a medal from somebody like that. That's a horrible thing to do. That's a cruel thing to do, and I think it's complete BS. You know? Because, I mean, think about it. If you ever watch a football game and a team you liked or your home team, maybe your team hasn't been in the playoffs in 10 years. They squeak into the playoffs, right? And maybe you got a chance to actually make a playoff run or want to be one of those Cinderella teams that actually goes on and wins the Super Bowl, even though you had a just above 500 record and you got hot at the right time. And you beat a team that you had no business beating because they're on paper way better than you, had a better record, and you're in their stadium, and you get your winning kick taken away by some technicality, some crap call that shouldn't have been called in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Or some holding call that they weren't calling all game, but all of a sudden they decided to call it this time, and then when you watch the instant replay, it wasn't a hold in the first place. Well, they can't review that call, and that's the kind of call they can't review. Isn't the whole idea behind instant replay to get it right in the first place? If you call a hold on a play, they play the video, and it shows the guy didn't even physically touch the place and the person that they were calling a hold on, that they should not call that call, and then your team gets booted out of the playoffs because of that. You'd be upset. But at the very least, you know that team will have another chance next year. Now, granted, it's a whole year. And you're not guaranteed you're going to get into the playoffs. Even if you're a good team, you're not guaranteed you're going to do anything next year. But at least you have an opportunity next year. But what about your opportunity is once every 4 years? And you finally get this medal and you're proud of it. And you've emotionally accepted the fact, I've got this medal to the Olympics. This is great. And some schmuck decides to take it away from you. That's cruel and stupid. And I often wondered, well, you know, because there are some people go, well, it's a technicality, you know, and I think that, you know, if it is what it is, man. And to those people, I would say, well, let me ask you a question, my friend. What if those technicalities were used against people in everyday life? I'm from a big city. And in the city that I'm from originally, you know, jaywalking really wasn't that big of a deal. I actually jaywalked with a police officer. This is not I'm not even kidding about that. I was walking across, because at the time, before that, I lived in Los Angeles for almost 10 years. And if they choose to, they can get you for jaywalking there. So I never jaywalked in Los Angeles. When I found that, I moved there and they went, you know, watch out, S. They give tickets for jaywalking. I'm like, they give tickets for jaywalking? He says, yeah, why are you so surprised? I said, where I'm from, police officers don't have enough time for that. They don't pay attention to that crap. You could jaywalk right in front of a police car. They don't care. They wouldn't even look at you. They'll drive around you. They ain't got time for that. But here in Los Angeles, brother, in this city here, you'll get a ticket for jaywalking. I thought he was kidding until I saw a guy get a ticket for jaywalking. I'm like, really? The crime is so low here, you got time to be stopping people from walking across the street? But what if jaywalking became something that they really were really strict on? And what if you were on the other side of the street, the building you was trying to go into, or your house was directly across, and you could walk across the street to your house, but you knew you were going to get a big ticket for jaywalking, so you couldn't. So you had to walk all the way down to the city block, go to the corner. You better not cross the street. That says red. The light is red. I know you're a pedestrian. I know it's 8 o'clock in the morning. I know that there are no cars out here, but you better wait until that light changes, because if you don't wait until that light changes, you're going to get a ticket. And then you got to cross the street and then you got to walk all the way back up to your house. That would be stupid. We would all go crazy if somebody did that. But technically, if they decided to give you a ticket, technically, if they wanted to get you like that, I guess they could. Technically, we'd be going crazy for that. That cost me $35 to cross the street. This is some BS. Why do you think somebody who's having a bronze medal yanked out of her hands that she busted her behind for, how do you think she would feel? How do you think she feels? How do you think her family feels? What about the police, when you're driving on the freeway, decided to give tickets to anybody that went 1 mile an hour over the speed limit? The speed limit where you are on the freeway is 65 miles an hour. How many people are driving 65 miles an hour? Not many. How many people are only driving 70? Not many. How many people are going 80? Most of them. How many people are going over 80? A few of them. So what if there was a big dragnet? Because as it is now, there's certain places where they have toll by plate, right? So you just drive on the freeway and you don't have to do anything. You just drive right through the booth. They take a picture of your license plate, and then maybe, I think it's like a month later or something like that, you get your toll in the mail. That's not a big deal. You're paying for the toll. You knew that was coming. It says toll by plate. You know it's coming. But what about they decided to do tickets by plate? And you didn't know at first. And the things that took a picture of your license plate, there wasn't a sign that gave you a warning saying, hey, you better drive 65, no faster than 65, or you're going to get a ticket. They just kind of put them up there, and you didn't know about it at first. And all of a sudden, millions of people kept getting multiple tickets for every single time their car passed 65 miles an hour, right? And what about you crossed several of those things that monitored the speed? So instead of getting one ticket, you got one ticket here, and then 15 miles later, you got another ticket, and then 15 miles later, you get another ticket, right? What about they changed it, and every minute you're over 65 miles an hour, it kind of ratchets up the ticket? Well, or every mile above 65 miles an hour, it ratchets up the ticket. What about that? What about you drive from San Francisco to Oakland, and all of a sudden you're going, how the hell did I get $400 in tickets? Well, you did speed 4 times. And you did drive 85 a couple times, right? And you switched lanes illegally. We saw that. Technically, you broke the law. Technically, yes, I know you drove. The guy in front of you was driving 63. You wanted to drive around him, so you had to drive 69 miles an hour to get in front of him, and then you went back to 65. But you were above 65, so technically, we can give you this ticket. We'd all go crazy. Have you ever gone to a store and you're at the cash register? This happened to me a couple times. The lady who had the food behind me, I think the stick that separates the food on the conveyor belt, one of her items was in my stuff, and I didn't pay for the item, right? And I go home, I'm like, I didn't buy this, and I looked at my receipt, and it wasn't on there. So basically, whatever that thing was, I didn't even want it. I just kind of, the supermarket was too far away for me to go back, and I just threw it in the trash. But technically, I have a product from that store. Technically, that pomegranate juice that I don't like, and would never drink, technically, I took it out of the store. Am I a shoplifter because the person behind the counter was talking on her phone and put pomegranate juice in my bag that I didn't want? Huh? Technically. Right? Man. I've seen people that were married flirt. I've seen people that were in relationships flirt with someone else. And I remember a friend of mine who flirted all the time. And I knew him well enough to know he is very similar to yours truly insofar as I'm in my 50s. I've never cheated on anybody. It never occurred to me to do so because I'm either with somebody or I'm not. If I'm with a lady, I'm going to be, in that particular way with that lady. I mean, not to be indelicate, but I'm going to jump on top of my woman as often as possible and give her that good deep business so good she thinks it's Christmas and just her. I'm not interested in anybody else. That's just the way I'm wired. And there's another buddy of mine, we agree on that kind of thing. He never cheats, just like me. He's never cheated on anybody, and he never would. He's very much like me. But the difference between him and me is he is a big flirt. I am not a big flirt. I'm friendly, but he literally flirts. He doesn't do it while his woman is around. But I know he's not going to do anything. I don't really say anything. But technically, he's wrong. Technically, he's wrong. If his woman showed up and saw that, she'd want to kill him. And sometimes I talk to him, I'm like, yo, bro, I know you ain't going to do anything, but you got to stop giving people the thought that you would. That people are going to see you flirting with this woman, even though I know you're not going to do anything with her. You know you're not going to do anything with her. And even the woman knows you're not going to do anything with her. But if people see you flirting or hear of you flirting a lot, or you get the reputation of being a big flirt in this place, it's going to end really badly for you. And you wouldn't have actually done anything physical, but you're going to wind up getting in trouble. Technically, he's wrong. He didn't physically touch the woman. He didn't say anything to the woman. He even mentioned the fact that he had a woman, even though he was still flirting. Technically, he's wrong, because if his woman was there, she'd want to murder him. Right? It's just an amazing thing when you see what's going on in the world and how sometimes technicalities come into play. Fairness is something that we should all strive for, isn't it? Isn't it a better thing if you're fair? We're going to go back to my football story. What about they changed the rule, and if you do an instant replay, you can look at the play and say, last year you call a holding call and it's a game deciding holding call. Even if you saw it on the video and the whole stadium goes nuts and sees that the guy wasn't holding and that you can't call back that made field goal that won the game and make him have to try it again from 15 yards back, even though the ball just barely got over the goalpost because that field goal was just at the outer limits of what that field goal kicker can kick, and there's no way in Hades he can make it from 15 yards back, and your bad call is what messed it up, and these people are going to be home and they will never know what would have happened in the future because of your call. But in the rules last year, you couldn't look back at that, even though you can see that you were wrong. Sorry, that's not reviewable. Well, what if it is reviewable? And you go, you know what? Upon further review, there was no holding. Field goal good. Game is over. Just like when it comes to this young lady with her bronze medal. Forget that stupid technicality. Well, they didn't do their protest within a minute. Get the hell out of here. That's stupid. They should just go, you know what? She won the gold. She won the bronze. And that's it. I'm just saying. It's like in my hometown. When I visited, I jaywalked like 5 times. And I told you, as I referenced, I did actually jaywalk with a police officer back in my hometown. It was this long street, and I was trying to go to an ATM because I had to pay for something. And I was like, no, I'm not one of those people. I don't like to tap my card on anything, or I don't like to sweep my card at a store. I don't trust easily. Like if I go to the gas station, a lot of people are going, well, you have a card. Why don't you use your card? If I don't have to use my card or at a gas station, I won't. I've seen too many times people put those skimmers on, and put how do you get a skimmer on in a store? Right? How do you get a skimmer on in a gas station? Shouldn't some gas station attendant walk by and every day check those things to make sure there's no skimmer on there? Kind of makes you a little suspicious, doesn't it? But I'm like, forget that. I'm not risking having to pay money. Because the thing is, I think you're responsible for only like $50 if you can prove that you didn't do it. But I got news for you. Why should it cost me $50 if somebody else did something wrong? Heck no, I'm going to go into the bank and get the little bit of cash that I need. Because I don't carry cash like that. So don't waste your time robbing me. You're going to be real disappointed. So I'm like, man, and it was a long block, man. And I just, I parked my car and I'm like, man, because there's no place to park near the bank, and I could see it. The bank was like, right. I said, this is a long block, man. I don't feel like I gotta walk all the way down there to cross the street to walk all the way back up here when the bank's right there. This is ridiculous. And then I realized, whoa, I'm in my hometown. I don't gotta worry about that crap. Not as much. And there was a police officer standing right there. I said, officer, I know jaywalking is a thing. And I want to get to that bank over there. Is it okay if I cross right here? He goes, hell yeah, I'm crossing right here. I said, so I can jaywalk with you? He goes, yeah, you damn right. I said, good, because I know they're going to try to run me over if you standing next to me. He laughs. We're just talking crap back and forth across the street. We're talking about the hometown football team and all that kind of stuff. Hey, man, why are you worrying about jaywalking so much? I said, well, I'm from here, but I spent like almost a decade living in Los Angeles. He goes, so what's this? They jaywalking? You giving jaywalking tickets out there? I said, yeah, from what I understand. I never got one because I never risked it. He goes, man, I ain't got time. He goes, I ain't got time for that. I ain't got time for giving no jaywalking tickets. I got criminals to worry about. We stood there talking for a while, and he said, and I didn't even get, but once we get on the other side of the street, we literally stood there talking for like 10 minutes. And, it was just two dudes talking, not a civilian and an officer. It was just two guys talking. And he goes, he says, you know what? He goes, S, because I told him my name. He goes, you know what I hate? And this is something that another police officer said to me before. I think I talked about it on either this podcast or my other podcast. He goes, I hate when they call me for something stupid like a guy stealing a pack of gum out of a corner store. He says, by the time I get there, I got to do all the paperwork, ask all the questions, sign up all of that kind of stuff. Right? Meanwhile, someplace else, somebody's getting mugged or shot. And I was 2 blocks away from that. Now I'm 17 blocks away. Because somebody stole a pack of gum. I don't even know why they waste my time. It's like, it'd be different if the guy had a gun and tried to steal a pack of gum. That makes sense. Yeah, of course I should be there for that. But if somebody grabbed a pack of gum and ran out the store, don't call me for that. You kidding me? So you think I want to waste my time on jaywalking? Technically, yes. But I'm not doing paperwork for that. So we laughed, we dapped up. What's up, bro? All right, take care, man. I went about my way. It just goes to show you, man. Technicalities can be a real pain in the backside. And it's always better to just be fair. Right? Can we be fair? I'm just asking. All right, folks. As you can hear, me, as Anthony Thomas, the person whose voice is normally smooth and silky, but now sounds gravelly and sucky. The funny thing about my voice is it'll sound like this, and then for about an hour, I'll have my regular voice back, and then all of a sudden, it'll sound like this garbage again. Probably in the next few days, I'll have my voice back to normal. Probably by the next week, next Monday, when the next episode comes out, my voice will be back to normal. I apologize for my voice sounding like hot crap, but I like to do, I would have recorded this already, and it's going to come out a little bit later on today. I would have recorded this yesterday afternoon or yesterday evening, but I had no voice. So, so thank you for listening. Thank you for putting up with this. I hope you don't have your fingers in your ears right now. Okay. Much love to you all. Do me a favor, my friends. If you love this podcast, and you do, make sure you rate and review this podcast 5 stars, please. Tell a friend about this podcast. Spread the word about this podcast, my friends. And listen to my other podcast, which comes out on Thursdays. It's called The S. Anthony Thomas Show. Make sure you check that podcast out, too. All right, folks. This is about all the voice I got left. Much love to you all. I will talk to you next week. Okay? Take care.